Shake your pom poms. Shake, shake, shake. Kimberly F. Brown, she'll roll up on your hometown. She supports the good, but if you're doing wrong, you better watch yourself. If you're cruel and full of spite, she'll shut you down. One wrong step and it's to the ground. She don't play nice with clowns. Brown, 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 on Cleveland, she'll lift you up or tear you down, depending on what you got going on. That darn Brown, brown. She gets the folks in every way. Her light shines bright like midday. She hates the lies, she seeks the truth. She'll call you out and show the proof. She'll clean the streets, she'll get them right. She works all day, she works all night. She loves or hates based on your deeds. Don't cross her path, don't plant your weeds. Brown, 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 on Cleveland, she'll lift you up or tear you down, depending on what you got going on. That darn Brown, brown. Brown, brown, on Cleveland, she'll lift you up or tear you down, depending on what you got going on. That darn Brown, brown. Shake your pom-poms. Shake, shake, shake your pom-poms.
Woo! Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Little Hut podcast. Brown, 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 that damn brown on Cleveland. And as always, you don't have to be a star, baby. You don't have to be a star, baby. You don't have to be a star, baby, to be on this show. You don't have to be a star, but damn it, you got to be bold. Wednesday evening, it's about 2 minutes past 10 p.m. and it is cold, cold, cold. Woo! It's cold outside. So if you guys are going out, make sure you drive with caution, care, and concern for others. Again, welcome inside the Little Hut podcast. And of course, you know me. My name is Kimberly F. Brown. Brown, brown, brown. That damn brown on Cleveland. Shake your pom-poms. Shake your pom-poms. Damn it. Shake your pom-poms. And as always, you know the routine. Before we get started, I got to say hello to Angie Marie of New Beginnings 1111 Creations. So if you're looking for t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, tumblers, mugs, team uniforms, whatever your need may be, give Angie a call at 216-395-7335. And of course, if you're looking for some of the best soul food on the planet right here in Cuyahoga County, you definitely want to go by Flavor Southern Cuisine Restaurant, which is located 12540 Rockside Road in Garfield Heights, and that's 44125. And if you own a daycare, and if you need somebody to deliver food for breakfast, lunch, and a healthy snack before the little people go home, give Rhonda Stubbs a call. Yeah, do that. Tell her you heard it from Brown on Cleveland at 216-510 0919. Yeah. And I know that some of you guys will be seeing me darn right on Saturday. Yep, for our annual women's luncheon. So if you were fortunate enough to get a ticket, definitely, hey, come on by. It's going to be a great time. We even have some boxers who are going to be up in the house. And I do mean when I tell you the champs are here, the champs are here. The champ will definitely be at our women's luncheon. And of course, it is sold out, and it's going to be a lot of surprises. And of course, that's sponsored by the Women Commission for Education and Training and the Black Women Commission of Cuyahoga County. So, of course, I do want to see your face in the place because we're going to have a good old grand time. That's right, Brown on Cleveland. Oh, so let's get down to the get down tonight. Miss Freddie was supposed to be hanging out with me tonight, but her granddaughter, for some reason, don't want to take her butt to bed. So Miss Freddie is out there fighting with a 4-year-old, and you can only imagine who's winning because it's not Freddie under any circumstances. She got her yah on lockdown right about now, Brown on Cleveland. But listen, regardless, tonight we have a pretty nice topic for you because it's all about who let the dogs out. And I'm not talking about those two-legged human dogs who like to bark and bite, who ain't gonna do a darn thing. I'm talking about the real dogs. I'm talking about some vicious animals. I'm talking about some of y'all furry friends who you do not have control of. So tonight, the Little Hut podcast, we will look into the dark side of dog ownership. After a tragic accident or incident involving a grandfather and his grandchild. The question tonight is, who's to blame for such a horrific attack? Should dog owners face jail time? Today, we will challenge societal norms and unpack accountability. And if you are a dog owner, you need to go to jail or hell if you allow your four-legged friend to go out and attack someone or anybody for that matter. Just last week, I was over at Garfield Heights Park. I go over there every other day because I have to get my 2 or 4 miles in. I have to get my steps in every day, because I'm older. I'm now at the senior citizen age, and I still want to keep myself together. And as I'm walking and running and walking through the park, there's a young man who's also walking and running, and he's walking his dog, but he does not have his dog on a leash. And his dog is a pit bull. And when I saw him and the dog, immediately I picked up the biggest stick I could find. And the young man says to me, he says, "Ma'am, my dog does not bite." I don't know why people make that silly comment because all dogs bite. Anybody who knows me, you know that I am a dog lover. I own a 9-pound Shih Tzu, purebred, named Alfie. And although Alfie is 9 pounds and he's the cutest little furry dog you ever want to see, he's a nipper. So even when people come to my home, although this is his home, I will lock Alfie up. He goes in his cage. The reason being is I don't believe that he would bite me or anyone in our family. However, he's still a nipper. And I would never tell one of my guests that he does not bite. He does bite. He has those sharp, vicious teeth, and Alfie will bite you. Now, by me having a Shih Tzu, if I know that he will bite, why would people think when they have a pit bull off a leash, they would not bite? Talk about dumb, dumb, and more dumb. People are just dumb and they're making stupid moves out there. And then when their dog attacks someone, the first thing they want to say is, not my dog, or why I have to give my dog up, or why did the police shoot my dog? Maybe it's because you didn't train your dog. Maybe it's because you didn't have your dog on a leash, or maybe it's simply because you're just plain stupid and ignorant. Lock them dogs up and put them on a leash, Brown on Cleveland. Now, a couple of days ago, there was a story that came out of Tennessee. This story is reported by WKRN. And I want you to pay attention to this. It says a 50-year-old man and his 3-month-old granddaughter are dead after a violent dog attack that took place, this past Wednesday afternoon. According to the 14th Judicial District Attorney, General Craig Northcock, the Coffee County Communications Center received a call at approximately 3 p.m. about an apparent mauling by pit bulls. That occurred in the 900 block of East Warren Street, again, over in Tennessee. A neighbor said he came home from work and saw a woman in the middle of the street screaming. He immediately sprang into action. Now, Kirby asked the woman if she needed help, but instead of answering him, he said she ran off towards the back of the house. Moments later, he heard sirens and knew something was wrong. Officials reported that when law enforcement arrived at the scene, they observed the dogs attacking the 3-month-old. The dogs were reportedly killed to stop the attack, but 2 people, identified as a 50-year-old James Alexander Smith and his 3-month-old granddaughter, were already deceased. While Kirby said this was the first time he's seen the dogs be violent towards humans, he said it isn't the first instance of violence he has seen. Brown on Cleveland. I live in Cleveland, Ward 1, the Lee Harbor area. And we have a side street, which is East 160th Street. If you happen to drive down East 160th Street, I don't care if it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, between the hours of 8 and 10, you will find pit bulls on the corner of 160th and Judson running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You don't see the owner. The dogs are not on a leash. But what you do see, you see cars going by and you see young people walking to school. People gotta be careful. This past summer, I was over in, my favorite city, and I was walking down a street called Claire. And when I was walking down the street called Claire, a white, pink-nosed pit bull began to charge at me. And a lady showed up from nowhere in a black car. And had it not been for this lady, I would have been mauled to death. I don't know where this lady came from. She said she heard somebody screaming, and that was me. She pulled up abruptly. She said, "Lady, jump in the car." And as I jumped in the car, the dog lunged at me and he almost got me. But thank God she was there to save me. And when I looked at the city ordinance, it is the most unintelligent ordinance I've ever seen in my life from the city, from any city. It says something like the only way that the owners of that dog could be ticketed if I had a video of the dog attempting to attack me. So let's look at this Brown on Cleveland. So as the dog is charging me, I'm supposed to, according to their city ordinance, I'm supposed to stop the dog, say, "Listen, I need to take a picture of you, Mr. Doggy, before you charge me, Mr. Doggy, so I can have your owners report it, Mr. Doggy. So therefore, your owners should be or would be cited." That is the most ridiculous thing in my entire life. Just dumb, all by itself. If you have a vicious dog, if you have a dog, period, always keep your dog on a leash. So here's what I did today. Freddie and I, we were supposed to talk about the Ohio Revised Code. And we were also supposed to look at different city ordinances. So I am going to share some of this with you, Brown on Cleveland. The Ohio Revised Code addresses violent dogs by defining and regulating dogs designated as nuisance, dangerous, and vicious, with strict penalties for owners who fail to comply with confinement, insurance, and registration requirements. Ohio law focuses on the dog's behavior and not the breed. So, classification of violent dogs, and this is according to Chapter 955 of the Ohio Revised Code. Here's what they define as a nuisance dog. It says chases or approaches a person menacingly off the owner's property. So you got a dog. He's very aggressive. He's threatening you as a pedestrian or a visitor. He is considered to be a nuisance dog. A dangerous dog, without provocation, has injured a person, not seriously or fatally, killed another dog, or is subject to a third nuisance violation. How many chances do a dog get to attack you or possibly kill you? A vicious dog, without provocation, has killed or seriously injured a person, where serious injury involves a substantial risk of death, permanent incapacity, or disfigurement. A vicious dog. Now, here's the owner responsibilities and penalties. Owners of dangerous or vicious dogs must adhere to specific requirements and face penalties for non-compliance. Well, if that's the case, then why would somebody have to stop, drop, look, capture their cell phone, take a video to prove that the dog is a nuisance, to prove that the dog is dangerous, and to prove that the dog is vicious? If a dog is charging you, that is vicious enough. Brown on Cleveland, I'm just saying. So they say here are the requirements. These include secure confinement on the owner's property In other words, I guess they just want a gate, a wooden fence that stops the dog from getting out. They say restraints with a chain link leash no longer than 6 feet and muzzle or secure enclosure when off property, annual registration, and maintaining at least $100,000 of liability insurance for vicious dogs, potentially required for dangerous dogs. Owners must also notify authorities if the dog is loose, bites someone's, attack another animal or property, is sold or dies. Brown on Cleveland. Let's be serious about this. First of all, we know that 75% of the people who have these so-called dangerous, vicious, and nuisance dogs, you know damn well they do not have insurance. And they definitely don't have $100,000 worth of liability insurance. And I'll go further. You know they don't have insurance on their dogs when in fact there's a huge possibility and probability that they don't even have insurance on themselves, nor their spouse or their children. Brown on Cleveland. So here's what gets me about black words on white paper. Unless it is being enforced, it doesn't mean a god darn thing. Who's going to enforce it? Now, if we had some smart legislators, some people with some common sense, if we had some council persons who would actually walk their ward or walk their districts or drive their wards slowly and drive their districts slowly, they could pretty much identify the homes where these dogs reside. If they spent time in their neighborhoods and in their communities, they would be able to communicate with these dog owners. But because most of these people are what you call seat fillers rather than seat doers and movers and shakers and makers, nothing is going to happen. So when you have instances like a grandfather at a 3-month-old being mauled to death, it should be a stain, not just on the entire neighborhood, the community, the city, the county, the state, and the country. Dogs will be dogs. But we have rules and regulations and policies to regulate how we're supposed to handle our furry friends. And the fact of the matter is this. A couple of weeks ago, remember that we were talking about parental responsibility. Remember that? And I was talking about shared responsibility. So let me remind you, in the event that you missed that particular podcast, if your young people do something that they ought not be doing, breaking the law, hurting, harming, killing someone, and the law says that they are too young to be charged with the crime, convicted of a crime, sanctioned because of a crime, then the parents, both mother and father, be it that they're together or not, should have some shared responsibilities with some consequences, which simply means that if your son and daughter can't do 10 years because they're too young, well, guess who can do those 10 years? Give their mother 5 years and give the father 5 years. I guarantee you, when you start holding people accountable, we would be able to see a decrease in people's behaviors that cause a negative impact on somebody else. So when we talk about these vicious dogs, I would implement the same sanction, share responsibility. So if you think that you can just have your four-legged friends run rampant throughout the community, threatening folks, scaring folks, hurting folks, killing folks, then you, as an owner of your four-legged friend, then you should have to pay a dire consequence. And if you don't have that $100,000 liability insurance, you should have to be sanctioned double. So let's say, for example, the law says, well, you know, because your dog killed somebody, you have to do 10 years. No, because you didn't have insurance. Damn it. Maybe you should do 20 years in prison. And I know some of you guys are probably saying, you know, Brown on Cleveland, Kim Brown, self, Lil Kimmy have lost her mother effing mind. Nope, not at all. Sometimes, in order to get people's attention, you got to put consequences in place, and you have to hold people accountable and responsible for their actions. Now, when the Ohio Revised Code talks about penalties, it says that violations can result in misdemeanor or felony charges, fines up to $5,000. So your dog kills somebody and you're only supposed to get a $5,000 fine. Huh, legislators have lost their damn mind. They should say it should be like $1 million fine because you can't get that person's life back at all. So why should you get a break? Because you didn't want to do right by the rules and regulations that's already in place. No, you shouldn't get a pass. It says imprisonment up to 18 months. So again, your dog kills somebody and you think you're only supposed to serve 18 months. No, they can't get their life back. Why not give you life in prison? I guarantee you, if they said that, and if they started making an example out of people, I guarantee you, you would invest in that $5.99 leash, and you would invest in a fence. You would, but because listen, nobody wants to hold anybody accountable, but everybody wants somebody to be responsible. This is the reason why we live in a situation that we live in now. And then it says, then there's a potential court order for the dog to be put to death. And it says owners are generally held responsible for damages unless the victim was trespassing or teasing the dog. So it'll be very hard to prove that somebody was teasing your dog. And why would they trespass on your property? You have salespeople out there. I guess you're supposed to just have a no trespassing sign, but also too, if you Google people who have been injured by these dogs, you have male personnel, mailmen and mail ladies who have been mauled and harmed by these dogs, and they're not trespassing, they're actually doing their jobs. Then you have cities who have these dog wardens, and when you call a dog warden, it takes them 6, 7, 8 months, damn near a year, to come out to see about a dog that did something a year ago, and now here they come today. Brown on Cleveland. Nobody's doing their damn job. I don't care what nobody say. And when I look at people, if you ask me, everybody probably need to go and find something else to do. Brown on Cleveland, listen, it's cold outside, and you have a lot of dogs out there running rampant, which in fact is another issue because as cold as it is, dogs ought to be inside the home and not outside. And here's another issue. Again, if you would walk your district, I don't care if it's cold. If you would walk your ward, I don't care nothing about your fingers being cold. If you would drive your district, drive your ward, you would see these dogs outside. And you ought to be concerned about that. And you should call the dog warden and give that homeowner a fine because those dogs have no business being outside when it's this damn cold. Brown on Cleveland. Woo! I said it. All right, you guys, hey, that's it for me because I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to be out there in the cold. But listen, Friday, you want to join me Friday? It's Friday. I am going to stir up some mess all across the region, so you definitely want to tune in. I'm going to talk about that damn Burton Bell car that's located over in, what is that, Ward 5, Cleveland. I'm going to talk about, I got to talk about messy Maple Heights because they are appointing someone to be the next council person for District 4 because we know that Dana Anderson is moving into that council president position. And I do know they had 3 candidates, and I'm going to talk about all 3. Sure enough, and I'm going to give you the lowdown on all 3. And I'm going to mind somebody's business, although it's not my business. But I believe in openness and transparency. And I believe that the citizens of Maple Heights, they have a right to know what's going on. So this is a show you definitely don't want to miss. Then I got to go and mind somebody's business over in the city of Richmond Heights. And I got to tell you guys about, because I didn't tell you guys this, I got to tell you guys, give you an update about my court hearing that took place on December 1st. And that there is going to look like that pumpkin back there is going to be crazy. I kid you not. It's going to be absolutely bonkers. And then too, don't forget, on December 26th, we got the official Jackass Awards. Woo! And that show is going to be absolutely ridiculous. It really is. And don't forget that you can always turn in your nominations because they're constantly coming in. And we will give a tribute to the #1 jackass of 2025. And right now we got 4 runner-ups. 4, but it's going to be better than the Grammys. And it's going to be talked about more than the Oscars. Brown, 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 that damn brown on Cleveland. Listen, you guys have a great evening because your girl gotta go.
Shake, shake, shake.
Good evening, and I'll talk to you on Friday. Be safe and shake your damn pom-poms. Shake them pom-poms, y'all.
She'll roll up on your hometown. She supports the good, but if you're doing wrong, you better watch yourself. If you're cruel and full of spite, she'll shut you down. One wrong step and it's to the ground. She don't play nice with clowns. Brown, brown, brown on Cleveland. She'll lift you up or tear you down, depending on what you got. make your palm